Hello and welcome to the latest Progress Wrestling Hype Show. And today we're going to be hyping up Super Strong Style, the names that have been announced for the tournament so far, and so much more. But let me introduce to you my guests, my co-host, obviously Mike Mad Dog Angus in the centre there. Mike, how you doing?
Hey everybody, good to see you all. Great to see you, Johners. I'm doing well, thank you so much. Really looking forward to chatting about Super Strong Style 16, obviously our biggest show of the year. It's 3 days, the Maybank holiday, the 27th to the 29th. It's going to be an amazing occasion at the Dome, Tufnell Park on the Saturday, and then the Electric Ballroom on the 28th and 29th. And we can't wait to welcome everybody there. It's going to be amazing. And of course, Johners, you can introduce our second special guest today.
We love it when we have a guest on the Progress Hype Show, and today is no different. So we've got Mark Shuttle from WXW, the head of video. So Mark, welcome to the Progress Wrestling Hype Show. How are you doing this fine day?
Thank you very much for having me. Yeah, I'm really good, thank you. It's been a busy day because we've got a busy weekend coming up here in Germany. So I've been working non-stop since the minute I woke up this morning, but I'm really excited to be here with you two fine gentlemen, getting to talk all things Progress over Super Strong Style weekend, including our We Love Wrestling show after Progress on day one. Really excited about it all.
Absolutely. We're going to kind of have a look at several things in a moment, especially chapter 152, which took place in Manchester a couple of weeks ago, For the Love of Progress, For the Love of Wrestling. We'll cover that off very, very quickly. And of course, we'll break down all the entrants that have already entered into Super Strong Style 16 for this 2023 version and so much more. But Mark, just say welcome to the show and thank you for coming on board. And it's great to have you here as a guest. But tell us a bit more about your role with WXW and how long you've been working with that great company.
So I've actually been here in Germany just over 1 year now. Obviously I started my career in wrestling in the UK, covered a lot of stuff around London and the Southeast for many years. Had a production company called Firebrand Video, but kind of COVID put an end to all that. So I ended up in Northern Ireland living with my wife's parents for a short while until WXW reached out. They were looking for a new head of video, someone who could oversee the whole video production end of our operation here. So I'm here to direct and produce a bunch of events, edit, produce a lot of the clips we see on social media, and yeah, generally just handle anything that's video content based that you might see from our company.
Busy guy. But like I say, it's great to have you on board for this special episode of the Hype Show. And as me and Mike were talking before we hit the record button, this is pretty much to the day, its first birthday. The Hype Show had its first episode 1 year to the day. So happy anniversary, Mike.
Thanks, mate. Yeah, happy birthday. I should have had a cake prepared. I normally have one at any moment. Anytime I go out to a restaurant these days and Lee McAteer's there, he always tells them it's my birthday wherever we are around the country, whatever date it is, wherever we are in the world. It ends up being Mad Dog's birthday. So I've just had a birthday on Friday and now we're celebrating again today, Jonas. So yeah, exciting stuff.
happy. The flowers are on their way, but from Interflora. But no, happy birthday, happy anniversary, and thank you to everybody that's watched us over the last 12 months. I think we've put out about 22 or 23 of these, had a ton of fun, and put out some fantastic content for you Progress fans. But obviously we are here, as Mike alluded to earlier on, to have a look at Super Strong Style, how that's shaping up. Obviously we don't know the brackets yet or many of the featured matches, but we'll talk about what we do know. And we got 9 fantastic entrants into this year's Super Strong Style 16 tournament to talk about. And of course, we've got Mark along on board with us today to talk about WXW's involvement. And of course, they will be taking part from the Dome in Tufnell Park. We Love Wrestling Live. May the 27th in London. Of course, we're going to be breaking down all the matches that we know so far that's going to be taking part on that fantastic card after night one of Super Strong Style, of course. So, let's quickly talk about what happened a couple of weeks ago. Now, you are one of the busiest guys in wrestling, Mr. Angus, and not too long ago, I think it was a weekend or two ago, you was in Manchester at For the Love of Wrestling, and of course on the Friday evening you were chapter 152 Progress Wrestling For the Love of Progress, sponsored by Monopoly Events at the BEC Arena, Bowlers of course, and a fantastic show, and of course this is already available to watch on demand, so just go to progresswrestling.com www.superstrong.com/watch and just sign up today. 2 weeks free trial, of course. But just take us through some of the highlights, Mike, because it was another fantastic chapter show from Progress Wrestling.
Yeah, for the love of progress, absolutely brilliant event. We had a marvellous time in the bowlers, and obviously it was a real honour for me to actually get to ring announce a match at Progress for the first time. Because, I ring announced Brady Phillips versus Rob Drake. It was absolutely brilliant to see those two guys both making their debuts on Progress. And unfortunately, traffic on the day had led to Simon our host being a little bit late, so I picked up the ring announcing duties for that one as I was doing my normal role. So very nice to get to big up those guys on the way to the ring, and they really delivered. Two people I've worked with for a long time, and they were absolutely brilliant. And of course, JJ Webb, who's on the screen right now. If you don't know, you should know, because he made his Progress debut as well at For the Love of Progress. And it always seems he gets himself into trouble at these wrestling conventions if he's not battling people like, from comic books and, other sorts of sci-fi novels. He's in trouble with Luke Jacobs in Manchester. So, brilliant debut from JJ.
Can't wait to watch that one back for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
That entrance video, he's got something pretty special. And Danny Luna and Raven Creed clashed as well. Raven has gone off the deep end again, unfortunately. She's now blaming Danny Luna for her recent matches that she's had against the Lana Austin Experience, when really it was Danny trying to help her out. So, we can only wish all the best for Raven, who seems to be having another troubling spell. But she had a great match there. It was also brilliant to welcome back Robbie X to Progress, who's always absolutely a top talent, always delivers. And, of course, it was Driller Dan Maloney's last match in a Progress ring for the time being, as he is flying off to Japan. I believe he's arrived now in Japan, as he is going to be wrestling for New Japan. So we wish him all the best of luck over there. Obviously, Dan, an absolute top professional. What an athlete. And we wish him all the best of luck in Japan. Of course, Rio had to clash with Lana Austin Experience. This one turned into something chaotic as there was some sort of shenanigans, some sort of I think it was a Lana Austin Appreciation Society were in the house that night, and there was confetti, there was cake, there was all sorts of parties there, and these three caused chaos right the way through the whole show. So we had a really great time with the Lana Austin Experience.
And they were back out again, weren't they, Mike?
They were out numerous occasions during the show. So we had Sky took on Rio, then Millie McKenzie was involved. Rio was involved. The whole gang were involved, and there was cake, there was confetti. It was just absolute madness. But you'll have to watch it back and see what happened there. But a couple of my very good friends were in attendance who hadn't had a chance to come to a Progress show in the last year, and they couldn't believe their eyes what was going on at ringside for these matches. So make sure to check those out. And great to see. Of course, Tate Mayfair was out causing havoc. Unfortunately, his opponent for the evening was scheduled to be Warren Banks, but Warren had been poorly. So Gene Money stepped up. The damn dirty dog never disappoints. And, you can see the smiles on the faces of the people in the Bowlers Exhibition Centre there, loving what Gene Money has to say. And he's got his really big boy pants on there for that one. And, of course, RKJ, our Atlas champion, issued an open challenge on the night, which was answered by none other than the 0121's Man Like the Reese, the lyrical dragon, had the crowd popping and had his own mini merch stand at the Bowlers Exhibition Centre as well.
Would you expect anything less?
The man of Merchamania was there, and he was absolutely living the dream. So great stuff to see. And we also had, obviously, our big main event, which was Sunshine Machine tagging with Sanity, taking on the whole gang of Dominatus Regnum. And somebody on the internet mentioned that it was called them Dominatus Rectum, John. That's almost as bad as it almost takes it away.
Well, I couldn't. I mean, my faux pas was almost as bad as that, Mike. But yeah.
But and obviously during that matchup, Axel Tisha picked up a knock. Unfortunately, picked up a bit of an injury there, and just want to wish Axel all the best in his recovery, because I know obviously he was scheduled to be with WXW over in London. These things happen, and I know Axel was really well looked after straight after he'd picked up this injury, and he was taken to hospital, and then he was back in Germany the next day. and is now healing back up. So looking forward to seeing him back
Best of luck,
as soon
Axel.
as possible. Wish him all the best, and
Absolutely.
obviously he's absolute legend, Axel Tisha. So yeah, looking forward to seeing him back in a Progress and WXW ring very soon.
Now, Mike, they say a picture paints 1,000 words. Now, look at our current Progress World Champion, Spike Trevay, the Sovereign Lord, the Vulture of Progress. And he certainly went through a battle that night in that faction versus faction team match, of course. And like I say, he's obviously got, like I say, a revenge or a battle in his mind. I don't think things went entirely his way that night, judging by the look of that photo. But a great night to be had. And scrolling along the bottom of the screen is details of where you can go and see that. Chapter 152, For the Love of Progress from Manchester, is up on demand already. Just go to progresswrestling.com/watch. We can sign up on demand and get 2 weeks free trial. And then, like I say, it's the best $7.99 a month you could possibly wish for. We get all of the chapter shows from Day Dot with Progress, and so many fantastic promotions from around the world as well, including TNT Extreme, Mike.
Of course, yeah, and TNT have got a huge event this week. We've got Effie's Big Gay Brunch in Liverpool this week, so we're really looking forward to welcoming everyone from over from America and from the LGBTQ plus community who are going to be in Liverpool. And we've got Eurovision on at the moment, so it's a real party city at the moment. So looking forward to that so much. And just to go back to For the Love of Wrestling, Jonas, as well, we had, of course, Progress and Wrestle Tours were there for the whole weekend. Lana Austin was doing karaoke with the fans, or Lana Oki, as she calls it. There were a few versions of Lee McAteer was singing Summer Nights at one point. That was he's still learning the words, but he got it out there, you know. And we had somebody singing Jungle Boy's theme music for him as well, so that was appreciated. And you know, we had such a great time, and a big shout out to the Bowlers Exhibition Centre for welcoming us, and also, of course, to Andy Cleek and all the team at Monopoly Events for putting together the show and putting on another amazing occasion. Everyone had such a great time. SoCal Val and Chris Brooker were hosting Q&As in the ring for the whole time, and it was absolutely brilliant. We got to hear from people like Money Incorporated, Demolition, the Powers of Pain, and of course some of the current stars of AEW who were going to be over in the UK later on in the year were over. So Jungle Boy was there having a great time. And of course, Jonas, we did have a couple of run-ins with Progress Talent bumping into a couple of the guys who were there to enjoy the show. So that was we're
going to get tongues wagging here, Mike. We're going to get tongues wagging. The dirt sheets are going to go crazy when I bring up these pictures. But look at that. The Sovereign Lord Spike Trevay and Adam Cole, baby. And could that possibly be a sign of things to come? And like I say, I've got to say the championship looks pretty good over his shoulder there, Mad Dog. And then, of course, Sunshine Machine, the longest reigning Progress World Tag Team Champions, and FTR there. So could that be something brewing? Obviously, we're always on the lookout for new challenges for our tag team champions. And like I say, they don't come any bigger than FTR. But a lot of fun was had that weekend, Mike, and can't wait for next year.
Yeah, and massive respect from Sunshine Machine to FTR. Those guys had a really great conversation, and FTR at the Bushmills whiskey with her. I think even SoCal Val had a shot in the ring during the Q&A, so I think they were having a brilliant time. But absolute professionals, and you know, that was absolutely wonderful to see those guys catching up. Adam Cole made mention of having wrestled in Progress back in the day and was hoping that he'd come back at some point, which was when SoCal Val pointed out that Spike Trevay is our current champion, and that was when Adam dropped the bomb and said, well, he might not be champion for much longer. Within about an hour, Spike Trevay was back. He was heading back to London on the train. He was back at the Bowlers from the night before to confront Adam Cole about that, and that's obviously where that picture's come from. That's as Adam's just literally about to head off, and Spike Trevay getting in his face saying, you want this title from me? You know, you're going to have to come and do something about it. So who knows what could happen there. But, it was quite a tense moment, to be honest, that one. So
I'd say thank you for kind of covering off Chapter 152 from the Bowlers there, For the Love of Progress, For the Love of Wrestling event, sponsored by Monopoly Events. But Mark, so we brought you on board for a reason, and that is to hype up what is going to be We Love Wrestling Live, WXW Live over in London, May the 27th. And it's going to take place immediately after night one of Super Strong Style 16 this year from the Dome in Tufnell Park. as I said, Saturday, the 27th of May. And let's just switch over to your screen because you're going to talk us through some of the matches that have been announced so far, and like I say, we can discuss the opponents, the competitors involved in these matches that have been announced, and what the fans over in London can expect on May the 27th. So, Mark, talk us about this first match here. Very intriguing.
Absolutely. So before we get into the matches, this is going to be our first time back in London in over 4 years. So it's been a long time coming, and everyone here at WXW, from the wrestlers to the office, we're excited to get back to London and show England what we're all about. And this match here, this potentially could have the WXW Unified World Wrestling Championship on the line, because 7 days before, Michael Oku is going to be challenging our current champion, Shigehiro Irie, here in Germany in Oberhausen. So things could change in this match. This could be really exciting. And I know you guys are a little bit familiar with Peter Tahani. I know he's been over to Progress a couple of times now. But I'd say in the last few months since, his last few visits to England, he has grown and improved so much. He did phenomenal in this year's 16-carat gold tournament, getting to the semi-finals where he lost to the now injured Axel the Axeman Tischer in an outstanding match. But based on the back of that match, Peter Tahani actually challenged Axel to a best-of-5 series, which produced another 2 incredible matches, absolute must-see matches. And Tahani currently 2-0 down in that series. He was supposed to be going into match 3 this weekend, but as you already mentioned, Axel Tischer unfortunately injured. But had Tahani won the next 2 matches, the finale of that entire series was going to be here in London. But instead now, Peter Tahani going up against Michael Oku in, as I said, what could be a match for the Unified World Wrestling Championship if Oku's able to dethrone Shigehiro Irie just 7 days prior.
Oh, fascinating. And Mike, I know that you're familiar with both of these 2 individuals, and as Mark just said, Peter Tahani has been part of Progress shows in the last 12 months, hasn't he?
Yeah, of course. So he took part in a Fatal 4-Way last year in Birmingham. And I tell you what, he was absolutely very impressive, and he represented WXW so well. Obviously, as well, Michael Oku, someone I'm very familiar with from ring announcing for him at TNT, the Master of the Half Crab. Also, we caught up with him very briefly in LA. He was wrestling for Impact Wrestling in LA while we were over there, so we had a little chat to him there. And these guys are both very talented athletes, so this is going to be an amazing match. And if it's for the championship as well, it just puts even more stakes on the line there as well. So that's what I'm really looking forward to. And I'll be there obviously in the Dome, Tufnell Park that night, and looking forward to welcoming all the guys from WXW back over, and looking forward to catching all the action.
Oh, what a match! What else do you have in store for us, Mark?
Well, if I can click through to my other slide when I find my mouse. My apologies.
Okay.
Maria De La Rosa is going to be taking on the debuting Charlie Morgan. Now, Maria De La Rosa, she's someone we've had over a number of times in Germany in the last 12 months. She's from Spain herself. She's been looking, she hasn't quite built much momentum in recent months, but this could be her opportunity. Charlie Morgan, in my opinion, probably one of, if not the best woman in the UK right now. Former Eve champion. She's phenomenal inside the ring. I'm really excited to see her here as part of WXW. I hope this won't be a one and done and that we'll get to see more of her in the future. But yeah, for Maria De La Rosa, this is a huge challenge. A win over Charlie Morgan would be huge for her. But it's probably going to be one of the toughest challenges she's had to date.
Oh, absolutely phenomenal, and very familiar with Charlie Morgan, as is Mike, I'm sure. But Maria De La Rosa, fairly new to my radar, but definitely one that I'm looking forward to kind of watching, certainly from this match, and catching up with her history within WXW. Mike, any thoughts on this one?
Yeah, of course. Charlie Morgan's had some great tag team matches in progress over the last year, tagging with Jetta, obviously, as the Royal Aces. And Maria De La Rosa, someone I'm not that familiar with, so looking forward to seeing her in action and seeing if she can, take on Charlie Morgan in this one. It's going to be a tough match for her for sure.
Yeah, it looks a lot of fun. Can't wait to see that one. What else do you have in store for us, Mark, on the 27th of May?
Well, we've got Maggot going up against Leighton Buzzard.
Wow.
Leighton Buzzard, he's come over to Germany, had 1 or 2 matches for us now. Had an absolutely phenomenal match against Peter Tahani, which is actually available for free on the WXW YouTube channel. Really recommend checking that out. Those two guys put in a phenomenal effort. But again, big challenge here for Buzzard. He goes up against the Son of Nothing, a man who, has started visiting your shore, started visiting London a little bit recently. Former WXW Shotgun Champion. I believe also the longest reigning Shotgun Champion in history.
Indeed.
And a man who I believe it was just last night was announced for the Super Strong Style 16 tournament.
Absolutely.
Someone who could end up winning it this weekend, which is hugely exciting for us here in WXW to see Maggot entered into that tournament.
Yep, for the second year running, and obviously Maggot made a big fan favourite of himself with his various shows. From I think his first show was about May last year. Won a fatal 4-way match against 3 other WXW competitors to enter himself into Super Strong Style last year, and this year he's an automatic entrant, but a brilliant and a huge fan favourite of the Progress faithful, Mike. Can't wait to see Maggot back inside a Progress ring.
That's it. Yeah, I was buzzing to hear the news that Maggot would be in Super Strong Style 16 this year. He is, a literal joy to see in the ballroom. As soon as his music hits and he struts out, the Son of Nothing has made such, he's made the UK his second home. And, obviously, he was telling me how much he loves the Nando's. So we said we'd get some Nando's ordered in for him when we're at the Dome. And over the weekend, if he's still about, we'll make sure he gets his Nando's on the go. Other takeaway chicken is available as well, obviously. And Leighton Buzzard is somebody I know very well from bringing out some of TNT Extreme Wrestling. I've been watching this guy very closely for a number of years, and I know everybody at Progress is going to be watching him very closely as well, because he is a big up-and-coming talent in the UK, and this is somebody you definitely want to see. The last couple of times I've seen him, he has seemed to have bulked up a lot, and he was looking reminiscent of a sort of 1990s Kurt Hennig when I last saw him. So he looks like the second coming of Mr. Perfect at the moment, but this is a very talented athlete and also a big character. I know he's done very well up in Scotland at ICW, and it's going to be exciting to see what he brings to the Dome, Tufnell Park, and taking on Maggot. That's another huge match for him, as you said. So very, very exciting.
I think it's safe to say these are two talents who are really having breakout years, like in their respective countries. So to see these two collide in London, I'm expecting something special from them.
Oh, 100%. Very exciting. And what else do we have in store for We Love Wrestling from the Dome in Tufnell Park then, Mark?
Well, the only other match that we can talk about right now is this. And, as we already spoke about, assuming Shigehiro Irie retains in Oberhausen on May the 20th, he's going to be defending that championship against Luke Jacobs.
Wow. And,
just two dudes who are going to batter the living hell out of one another in that ring. Like, Shiggy's such an interesting guy because, he's so explosive when he gets between those ropes, but he's so gentle outside. And that contrast to me is super interesting. And I think that leads some opponents sometimes to underestimate Shiggy. Although I don't believe Luke Jacobs is going to be one of them. We recently had Luke here over 16 Carat Weekend, where he went up against Axel Tischer in an Ambition Super Fight. Probably one of the most intense Ambition Super Fights we've ever had. So I really expect these two men to absolutely bring it in that main event against one another.
Oh my God. Mike, I know you're familiar with these two, especially Luke Jacobs, former Progress Wrestling Atlas Division champion, of course. And we've seen Shigehiro at Darth Lad's Emporium, G-Money's Darth Lad Emporium, and various other shows in 2022 in a Progress ring. So I know you're familiar with these two.
Oh, yeah, Shigehiro, absolutely brilliant wrestler, obviously the WXW champion. He's he's at home in the Dome, I tell you, because he's done a couple of shows in the Dome for us randomly, and every single time he's been absolutely brilliant. A hell of a headbutt on him, and what a strong wrestler, ideal for Super Strong Style 16 tournament as well. So that's something to bear in mind for us as well. And of course, Luke Jacobs. This guy's had such a year, winning the Atlas Championship, and then he goes from strength to strength. He's, he was very impressive in Manchester For the Love of Progress the other week, and you'll have to make sure to watch that one to see the beating he put on somebody. But that's definitely worth a watch. And that is going to be an absolute hoss fight, that one between these two guys. Make sure we've reinforced the ring for that, because they're going to be bringing it all, and it's going to be a tough one for sure.
Absolutely. And for anybody that's not too familiar with WXW, Mark, in a nutshell there, you've got 4 amazing matches featuring regular talent from WXW and some that we might be more familiar with over here on the UK shores. But in a nutshell, why should fans of Progress, why should UK wrestling fans be in attendance to see We Love Wrestling from the Dome in Tufnell Park on May the 27th?
That's a great question, and I think there's a very simple answer. Because it's going to be amazing. Our shows never disappoint. I know a lot of people always say that, but there's just a very different style here in WXW than really I was seeing anywhere in the UK doing or putting on from my time over there. And it's really hard to describe and do it justice, because this is something I've been asked previously, and I don't think I can really put it into words, but I think it's something you just have to experience live to see how, the stories, the personalities, the physicality in WXW differs from what fans may be used to across the UK.
Absolutely. And Mike, I know you're looking forward to it. What are you looking forward to most, having just witnessed some of the match graphics there?
Oh, it'll be great to see Leighton Buzzard in action again, and also Michael Oku. That's going to be great to see him back. It'll be interesting to see how he gets on, and obviously there'll be people watching there. I'm sure Nigel McGuinness, who's scouting for Super Strong Style, will be keeping a close eye on everything that's going on there. And, who knows what could happen from that. Also, don't forget, there are combo tickets available for both shows, so you can get your whole weekender ticket for Super Strong Style with the WXW ticket included in that. And, what a weekend it's going to be. If you're down for Super Strong Style, you've got to go to WXW as well. And Mark, just tell us one last time, what time does the show start on the 27th?
So I believe doors are 7:30 with an 8 o'clock bell time, I think.
Yeah, so it's going to be following on from day one of Super Strong Style, which is going to be doors at 1 o'clock, I believe, show starting at 2. So there'll be 2 amazing shows in one day, and that's.
And I'm excited to see day one of Super Strong Style. I can't wait to see what you guys have in store for the rest of us.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll talk about that very soon.
Going to be an amazing weekend.
But simply go to progresswrestling.com/tickets. Progresswrestling.com is where you get all of your information on what's going down in Progress Wrestling, or simply visit their social medias, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, for all the latest news. But progresswrestling.com/tickets is where you can get your tickets or combo tickets, as Mike and Mark just said there, for day one or for the whole 3 days of Super Strong Style. So essentially, it's not just 3 days, it's 4 shows. And it looks like an incredible weekend, an incredible bank holiday weekend over here in the UK. We can see the very best of the UK's finest in Progress Wrestling, and of course WXW and We Love Wrestling live from the Dome in Tufnell Park, May the 27th. So directly after night 1 of Super Strong Style. But Mark, you're going to be sticking around and helping us kind of go through the next part of this show, and of course we are going to be focusing over the next 15-20 minutes on this, of course, Super Strong Style 16. We've already spoken a little bit about WXW. 1 or 2 of them faces might pop up in 1 or 2 of the sides we have. But of course, night 1 is going to be featuring the first round of the Super Strong Style tournament for 2023. And some of the names that we know have been entered into the tournament so far. And of course, let's bring this person's picture up now. As far as I'm aware, Nigel McGuinness isn't wrestling, but he's certainly going going to be commentating and hosting and doing various roles throughout the weekend of 3 days of Super Strong Style. But Mike's having Nigel McGuinness as part of a progress show, Super Strong Style no less, is going to be absolutely fantastic and always entertaining, I'm sure.
Yeah, Nigel, somebody I've seen wrestle a lot of times in the UK, especially back in Liverpool and for Ring of Honor back in the day. And I've seen so many great matches that he's had, and it really enjoyed his career. And obviously, he transitioned into commentary for WWE and was brilliant at that. And then it's just absolutely amazing to welcome him back to the UK as part of Super Strong Style, and he's done an amazing job of selecting some of the best talent on the planet who are going to be taking part in this 16-person tournament. And kudos to Nigel, he's done an amazing job. So and these promos, I don't know whereabouts he is, but he's got a nice location that he's sending these videos in from.
Absolutely, he's got a countryside retreat, no doubt. But fantastic promos that he's been sending in. But the first three entrants that Nigel McGuinness mentioned, I think, at the last chapter show in London, chapter 151 Heavy Metal, we had, of course, former Progress World Champion Mark Haskins, the very first Progress World Champion Nathan Cruz, and of course Tate Mayfair's were the first three mentioned entered into this year's tournament. But Mark, you familiar with those three fine gentlemen and fantastic athletes and wrestlers? And like I say, Mark Haskins and Nathan Cruz, former Progress World Champions, looking to do well in this year's tournament to hopefully reclaim that gold somewhere down the line.
Yeah, definitely. Mark Haskins and Nathan Cruz, two men I have filmed and edited so many matches I can barely begin to count. Two guys who, undoubtedly at the top of their game and are really coming into Strong Style weekends with something to prove. Tate Mayfair's, I'm not too familiar with him. The last time I saw him, he was really just breaking out on the scene. He had just been done with training, was starting to make a name for himself. So I'm really excited to see how he's developed in those kind of 3-4 years since I last saw him wrestle.
Absolutely. And Mike, you must be excited to see those three, and in particular Mark Haskins and Nathan Cruz, that haven't been inside a Progress ring for a little while. It'd be good to see them back inside a Progress ring. I know that the Progress faithful, certainly at the Dome in Tufnell Park and the Electric Ballroom, will be looking forward to seeing those two in action again.
Of course. Well, Nathan Cruz won the Progress Championship in Chapter 1, the very first ever show in the tournament there. And I believe both of those guys we've just mentioned took part in the very first Super Strong Style 16 tournament. So they're both well-versed in the tournament format. And they're, of course, both absolutely brilliant wrestlers. Nathan, I've seen most recently at TNT. And of course, Mark as well is all over the place. You get to see Mark a lot wrestling, and it's just amazing that they're going to be back in Progress. That's great to see, and it's just going to be classic. And of course, you mentioned about Tate Mayfair's. Wow. This man has been on an upward trajectory since the very first Chapter 127. He faced Dean Allmark, and since then, this guy has just stuck a rocket to his back and has literally gone from strength to strength. He is one of the most hated people in the United Kingdom. The stuff he does outside the ring, if he's not on Savile Row buying himself a new suit, he's in the jeweller's getting a new watch. He literally, the $1 Million Man was with us the other week, and I think Tate's been taking tips from this guy, because some of the stuff that set people off about Ted DiBiase back in the day, literally Tate is just, he's ridiculous. And he was with us for Love of Wrestling for the whole weekend. I have never heard somebody say their own name so many times, and literally to tell everybody who would listen, whether they're Hall of Famers or, somebody who's just come along to enjoy the show, that he is the greatest wrestler to ever walk on planet Earth. I must have heard that 1,000 times for Love of Wrestling from him.
I would love to have seen some of the looks, Mike. I would love to have seen some of the looks.
Just every time there was a photograph getting taken, he's saying, Tateness is greatness. And that, woohoo! Honestly, every time I heard that, guys, it's indelibly etched into my brain. But this is somebody who's worked so hard for his craft as well. It's not just somebody who's just come along and happens to be rich and wants to be involved. This is somebody who's dedicated to the gym.
Yeah.
As you said, Mark, dedicated to professional wrestling, and he's got the charisma, and as much as I hate him for it, he is going to be a star, and it's whether he gets there, on his own talent or whether he cheats to get there. He is going to get there, and that's Tate Mayfair's for you. Going into this tournament, I wouldn't want to be drawn against Tate Mayfair's in the tournament, to tell you that for nothing, because I don't particularly like getting hit by brass knuckles in the face.
But Mark, you will find out what Tateness is Greatness is all about on the 27th, 28th, 29th, Bank Holiday weekend, Super Strong Style weekend. Let's talk about these two young individuals that earn their place in Super Strong Style this year. Obviously, Luke Jacobs, we spoke about him just a moment ago. He's going to be involved after night one of Super Strong Style for WXW, of course, and Leon Slater, the youngest in charge. Two of the finest professional wrestlers in the UK, regardless of how young they are. But they really are tearing up the scene in the UK and further afield. Mark, I'm going to start with yourself. I'm sure you've seen a lot of these two individuals. Leon Slater just absolutely lighting up the scene. Luke Jacobs, one of the hardest hitters pretty much anywhere. But give us your thoughts on these two and how you think they might fare in Super Strong Style this year.
I mean, you've got two men who are really great, but in two very different ways, as you said. Luke Jacobs is just going to batter the hell out of you, whilst Leon's going to use his size and agility and speed to wrestle rings around you and fly around you. So, yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, like, part of me sitting here thinking right now, I'd like to see them two go at it at some point in the tournament. That could be a really interesting match.
Yes. For sure. But Mike, I know you're very familiar with these two. Leon Slater has really had a breakout 12 months, certainly since he's become part of the 0121 over in Progress Wrestling. And pretty much everywhere he's laid his hat, he's done really, really well over the last 12 months, made a big name for himself. And of course, Luke Jacobs, I don't think he needs much of an introduction. Former Atlas Division champion, of course, but two very exciting talents that don't underestimate. They could go all the way in this year's tournament.
Yeah, both absolutely brilliant wrestlers, and I've known Luke Jacobs for a very long time, from when he first started out in the Young Guns with Ethan Allen. Obviously, a big shout out to Ethan, who was at For the Love of Wrestling last week. Great to catch with him and hear his personal training's going very well, and he's on his way back from injury, so that's great to hear. Luke, obviously, has done amazingly, as we mentioned briefly before. But as you say, he's a hard hitter, and he's somebody else I wouldn't like to come across in this tournament, because you're going to get battered if you're facing Luke Jacobs. And Leon has had an absolute amazing year, obviously, whether it's been in singles combat against the likes of RKJ and others, and also is obviously the matches with the 0121, where they've delivered some absolutely just show-stopping moments, especially that match in Manchester on February 12th with the 4-on-4 against CPF. That was just an amazing match, and if you haven't seen that one, you need to check out Progress on Demand Progress, and check that out, because that was just a crazy match. And Leon could be a tip for the top here in Super Strong Style 16, because he is he's tough to keep down, and this guy just keeps on going. He is he's passionate about what he's doing, and he's so athletic. This guy, he brings excitement to every match he's in. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him go quite far in the tournament as well. So let's see who he draws when we get those brackets drawn. That'll really make it extra interesting to see that.
Absolutely. It's going to be absolutely phenomenal. How about these two individuals? Now, these two know each other very, very well. They've had various matches and a bit of a storyline together, but we've obviously got the spectacular one. Charles Crowley, the twat of Progress, of course, and of course the son of nothing, Maggot. We spoke about Maggot. He's going to be featuring after night one of Super Strong Style at WXW We Love Wrestling on the 27th of May from the Dome in Tufnell Park. But these two individuals know each other very, very well, and both featured in last year's Super Strong Style tournament as well. And Mike, I'm going to flick things around and start with yourself. But these two individuals, great characters, entertaining all day long, but you get them in the ring and they can go.
Yeah, the interactions they've actually had between the two of them themselves have been absolutely hilarious. It was last year's Super Strong Style where they started having a tango in the ring at some point, and then they've had another match again since then. And Maggot won Crowley's gear off him, and then Crowley won it back when he came back as a demigod, as you do. And one of the funniest moments I've seen in a wrestling ring was between these two. Was when Maggot gets up on the top rope and Crowley's on the second rope, and Maggot quoted that line from Star Wars: "I have the higher ground now, Crowley." That absolutely made my day. But then that's not to take away from how serious these guys can be. And Maggot has got what it takes to get to the finals, and I know for sure Crowley is such a talented wrestler. He's only just been over in Canada the other week facing Scotty Too Hotty, if I'm not mistaken. And, both so entertaining, but as well, great wrestlers. And, both are going to do well in this tournament. So it'd be interesting if they do get involved again with each other, but we'll have to see what happens with the brackets. For both their own safety, it's probably best if they're kept on complete opposite sides.
But Mark, I know you're very familiar with Maggot, obviously a former WXW shotgun champion, of course, and Crowley. I know Crowley's been over to Germany. He's wrestled for WXW on a number of occasions, so you must be getting more and more familiar with the spectacular one. But give us your thoughts on these two, and once again, how you feel they might fare in this year's tournament, and what would happen if we get these two in the ring, possibly paired up against one another for round one. That would be quite entertaining for sure.
I mean, I think whether they get paired up together or not in the brackets, Crowley's got this weird obsession with Maggot, and I don't know if I can really explain it. And obviously Crowley come all the way to Germany, back at 16 carat, just to chase Maggot, and I don't know, I genuinely do not understand what Crowley's obsession is. So I think something's going to happen between these two guys, whatever happens in the brackets and the tournament. But you said, two hugely entertaining, charismatic wrestlers. Two guys who can both really bring it in the ring when they need to, when they have to. I think they've both got great chances. Maggot's very familiar with, tournaments. He's been in 16 karat gold a couple of times. He's been in super strong style before. So he understands what it takes to make it through to the next round. But yeah, I think as well it's really going to depend who they're drawn against in those opening rounds as to how far they'll get. And I think that could be the biggest decider for these two guys. And yeah, just Crowley. I don't trust him. Whatever happens, he's going to interfere. I can see it now. Do either of you guys understand this obsession he has? Because I really want to... What the... Oh, no. Oh, no.
We may well find out over Super Strong Style weekend for sure. But now, one entrant that was announced probably only a few days ago that I haven't got a slide for, but let's quickly talk about Danny Black, because he's had a breakout 12 months, had some phenomenal matches, in particular the one he had against Leo Rush in the ballroom not too long ago. Mike was an absolute classic, was of course part of that CPF match against the 0121 not too long ago as well, an absolute banger. But give us your thoughts on Danny Black very briefly, because he is going to be, so I think this is his first Super Strong Style tournament. Somebody obviously we can't underestimate. And I think he's in the form of his life at the moment. So he could be one to keep an eye on, a dark horse maybe. But yes, certainly not one to underestimate. Like I say, he's in a rich vein of form. But Mike, Danny Black.
Yeah, Danny, absolutely amazing athlete. And as you mentioned, some of his matches have been absolutely brilliant. Love seeing him in action with CPF. And all four of those guys have had the absolute breakout years. Joe's been over in the States, Mav and Callum, Prince of Pace, obviously, have all been absolutely amazing. So it could have been any of them in this tournament. And I'm sure, well, I hope anyway, that we'll see all of them over the weekend at some point. But I'm not sure quite what the plan is with that. But obviously, Danny Black, he's entered in the Super Strong Style 16 tournament, and he's going to be brilliant in this. So just really looking forward to it. It's always entertaining when he's in the ring, and he's got his head screwed on for a young guy, works hard, and this is somebody this is a really big chance for him. So yeah, hope he does well.
Has Danny Black come onto your radar yet, Mark? How familiar are you with him?
Definitely. So Danny Black, Tate Mayfair's, was a guy who I was seeing just as he was starting to get out there and get booked a number of years ago, and you could tell there was something there, his dedication to training and on coming up with, some of that crazy and innovative aerial offense that he brings out the bag. Like, you could tell there was something there. It was just going to take a little bit of time. And then, again, back at 16 Carat, he come over here where he actually challenged Spike Trivet for the Progress Championship,
Yes.
in a, thrilling match that was part of our WXW Now and Friends showcase, main evented the show. And really great to see, that progression, that dedication. And as you already mentioned, Mike, he's got himself in incredible shape. And I think that, real dedication that Danny Black brings to his craft could see him go all the way. There's huge potential there.
Absolutely. And I've got two more entrants into this year's Super Strong Style 16 to talk about. The first one is Nick Wayne, who's no stranger to the Progress faithful, no stranger to the Progress ring. And of course, this man here needs no introduction. Will Ospreay, arguably one of the greatest wrestlers on planet Earth right now, and returns to Progress Wrestling. This was hot news, breaking news just a few days ago, but we will see Will Ospreay, and he is going to be an official entrant into this year's Super Strong Style tournament. Mark, two tremendous talents. I know these two have actually faced before, Nick Wayne and Will Ospreay, in a Defy ring a couple of years back. But obviously we don't know whether they will clash in Super Strong Style this year. If they did, it would be a phenomenal opening round match or any stage of the tournament. But Nick Wayne and, of course, Will Ospreay, your thoughts on those two?
Nick Wayne isn't someone I'm overly familiar with. I know the name. I know there's a lot of hype surrounding this guy. So he's someone I'm very excited to see in action and find out what he's all about. And as you said, Will Ospreay, the man needs no introduction. What can I say about Will Ospreay that hasn't already been said 1,000 times?
Yeah, exactly. It's it's a thrill to have him back in the Progress ring. It's a thrill to have him as part of this year's Super Strong Style, and of course, a former Progress World Champion. Mike, you must be elated to have these two awesome talents as part of this year's Super Strong Style.
Yeah, first of all, Nick Wayne, son of Buddy Wayne, Pacific Northwest, absolute legend. He's the current Defy champion over there in the States. Absolutely brilliant. Every time he's been over to the UK, he's just, been an absolute amazing talent. And, I just can't wait to see what he does at Super Strong Style 16. Such a nice kid with his head on his shoulders, and he's somebody who's been wrestling since he was, about 7 years older. This is somebody who's absolutely been brought up in the pro wrestling business and has learned and the knowledge that this guy's got. He's at least sort of, I would say, 10 years ahead of his actual age, and with wrestling mind wise, and just absolutely brilliant. We saw him over in the States. Wrestling for GCW. He was over with GCW last year as well against TNT, and he's just absolutely brilliant. So, what a name to have in this tournament. And obviously, we all know that he's signed a contract for AEW, so he's going to be wrestling with AEW. And he's had some amazing matches against the likes of Ospreay. He's took on Ospreay before. He's took on Swerve Strickland before. This is a guy who's going to go far in the wrestling business, and so proud to have him over as part of Super Strong Style. And then in the same breath, you talk about a former champ, the winner of the very first Super Strong Style 16 tournament. He's the the leader of the United Empire, and he's half of the Swords of Essex. Will Ospreay, somebody I've ring announced for in the past, but he hasn't been in Progress for a little while. And in this time away, he's up there with the greatest independent wrestling talent on the planet. He's up there with the superstars that you speak about. Your Roman Reignses, your MJFs, people like that. People who we really look up to in the wrestling business. Will Ospreay is right up there when people are talking about him as a pro wrestler, and the talent this guy has is astronomical. So it'll be so interesting to see him back in the Dome at Tufnell Park in a Progress ring, and possibly back in the Electric Ballroom as well. I think the atmosphere when he returns is going to be something wild for sure. And I for one am excited for it. I've seen what he can do in the ring. I was lucky to ring announce him against Pete Dunne back in the day at TNT. which was an amazing matchup back in 2017 at Summer Explosion. I believe that's available. Progress Demand Progress now. You can watch that one back. Definitely want to check out if you're not familiar with it. But since then, he's gone from strength to strength, wrestling all over the world, and he's coming back to Progress Wrestling, former champion, former Super Strong Style 16 winner, and it's on everyone else to beat him because he's the favourite at the moment for me. And
take down, yeah,
he is. But as well because of that, he said himself, he's got a target on his back, and other people in this tournament are going to be gunning for him. And when you've got the likes of the talent that we've just mentioned, Leon Slater, Nick Wayne, Luke Jacobs, any of these guys are going to give you the match of your life, the match of your career, and that's what we're going to be seeing at Super Strong Style 16 on May 27th alongside BUXW, and then on the 28th, 29th, that May bank holiday weekender. If you've not got your tickets, you've got to get them now because it is going to be absolutely crazy.
Absolutely. It's already gearing up to be the greatest, the best Super Strong Style 16 tournament that Progress has ever held, and we got another 6 entrants yet to be named. You look at the caliber of the names that have already been mentioned, and who knows, God knows what sort of names and competition we're going to get as the final 6 entrants. But when we do part 2 of this, we're going to be breaking down the brackets. We're going to be doing a little bracketology episode, having a look at the draw, doing a bit of fantasy booking. But one of the match that has been named for Super Strong Style, or announced, I should say, is the Clock Strikes Midnight match between Alexis Falcon and Nina Samuels. This will take place, I think it's possibly day 2 this has been announced for. I could be mistaken, but this has been a grudge, a feud that has been building now over many months between these two. It's a bitter rivalry, and that's going to be in a Clock Strikes Midnight match, or I think the stipulation, the gimmick of the match changes every time the clock strikes midnight, Mike. But we'll talk more about that match next week. Now, let's have a little bit of a chat about Nigel McGuinness very, very briefly, because he is, of course, going to be the host and commentator over the 3 nights of Super Strong Style weekend. And, of course, not only is he going to be playing a part within those 3 shows, he's also going to be doing a one-off magic show, Mike. So tell us what you know about this, because for those that don't know, Nigel McGuinness is a very talented magician.
Yeah, I've seen some of his sleight of hand and some of his absolutely awesome magic tricks in LA. He was showing us a few little bits, and I know he's done a sort of smaller version of this show, and he speaks about his wrestling career as well in it, and he does some magic and has people up on the stage doing all sorts of stuff. So it's going to be a really fun experience and a really great experience for the fans who attend that, to have a catch up with Nigel, to hear about his wrestling career, to hear about what he's done in the business and some of his experiences. What an interesting guy he is. He's always got stories to tell, and then as well to add in the fact that he's magical as well. It's just you've got to be there to see it and believe it. And it's going to be on the Sunday night. I believe it's starting at 8:00 through to 10:30, I believe, and there's going to be all sorts of stuff there. And there's, he's said there's going to be special guests there as well with him. Wow. I just think this is going to be something that you can't miss out on. It's going to be so much fun. He's done such a great job getting all the talent together for Super Strong Style 16, and I think there'll be a lot of people there looking forward to enjoying that one and seeing what he has to say and do, and be impressed by some of the magical talent he's got. So it'll be something definitely to be there for. And one other little exclusive, I believe, is going to be refereeing the final match at Super Strong Style, I've been told. So exciting news as well there for
Absolutely
you. So a little bonus for you there, John. There's a little bonus exclusive for you there.
Yeah, absolutely. I like exclusives on this show. And just quickly, of course, you can get tickets for his magic show, the Nigel McGuinness Magic Show. Just go to bit.ly/magic SSS16, so Magic Super Strong Style 16, and that's where you can get your tickets. I'm sure if you check out Progress's socials, you can see the posts and the links there to click on. And of course, another thing involving Nigel McGuinness is he's going to be running a seminar as well over that weekend. What can you divulge? What information do you have for our Progress listeners out there, Mike?
Yeah, I believe on Bank Holiday Monday there's going to be a seminar hosted by Nigel McGuinness And if you know, obviously anyone who's in the wrestling business has watched his matches from Ring of Honor and is familiar with, you know, what an amazing technical wrestler and pure wrestling style athlete he was at the time. And you know, he's somebody who articulates himself very well and can you know, speak passionately about the business. So this is somebody that you want to learn from. That you know, you need to hear these stories and you need to see what he can teach you if you're you know, learning professional wrestling and want to be part of the business, or you know, this is something that you're interested in, and this is somebody who is going to be able to give you the information you need to take your wrestling career to a new level. So yeah, so I know there's talent who are training so hard at places like the New Wave Academy and also a Future Shock, even at the Wrestle Island Temple as well. This is somebody you can come, you know, come to this show on the Monday and go to the seminar beforehand, and hear what he has to say, and then make sure you stick about for the finals of Super Strong Style 16 that very evening. And you know, if I was, you know, trying to improve my wrestling ability, it'd be somebody I'd definitely want to hear from. So yeah, definitely brilliant stuff, and must do for anyone who wants to become a professional wrestler.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
and
also,
go ahead.
Just wanted to mention, I actually did an online commentary seminar with Nigel recently, and absolutely fantastic. As you say, Mike, he articulates himself so well, and you can tell he's one of those guys who, when you ask him a question, he really tries his hardest to help you the very best that he can. So if you've got an opportunity to go to that seminar, you won't regret it. I promise you.
Absolutely. And after Super Strong Style, Mike, Progress, they go over to Canada, Toronto, June the 25th. But what can you tell us about their presence and their participation over in Toronto next month, June the 25th, Mike?
Yeah, going to be amazing. Of course, Defy are there. So Nick Wayne's the current Defy champion. So obviously that's somebody we know very well. And of course, I believe Mr. Charles Crowley was wrestling for Smash Wrestling the other week. So there's all sorts going on there. And that's in conjunction with, I believe, AEW and New Japan are having their big show, The Forbidden Door, that evening. So these shows are all going to be leading up to that. And it's an amazing experience, an amazing opportunity to see Progress Wrestling in Canada. So if you're in Canada or in the States, anywhere in North America, get yourself up there to see that. It's at the Toronto Rec Room, June 25th, and it's only a 5-minute walk to the stadium there where they're going to be hosting that big event in the evening. And it's a great chance to see some of Progress's best wrestlers going to be over there for that one. You know, great opportunity to catch up with what we're up to as well. So brilliant.
Absolutely. And just skipping ahead a little bit, I think you have to have been living under a rock if you're not aware that All Elite Wrestling, AEW, are coming over to the UK, and they've got their big show All In at Wembley Stadium. That is Sunday the 27th of August. But the day before, Progress back in the ballroom, Camden, London, August the 26th, and Defy, you just mentioned those, will be a part of two fantastic shows taking place in the Electric Ballroom that day. Defy, the Splendid and the Vile, and of course Progress Wrestling. It's clobbering time, Mike. The first show at noon, the second show at 4 p.m, and that is the day before All Elite Wrestling. So a lot to look forward to, having Defy over in the UK and in conjunction with Progress Wrestling. Lots to look forward to there, Mike.
Yeah, it'll be great to welcome those guys over as well. It'd be great to see what talent they bring over to the ballroom on that day. And of course, you know, Progress is, you know, that's going to be something pretty special. I know there is going to be an announcement. It's dropping today, so by the time this hype show comes out, John, the big announcement will have been made for that show, so we can speak about it on our next show. But very excited about some exciting news from that one. August 26th, tickets are absolutely flying out for that show. So if you do want to attend that one, make sure you get your tickets now. And then obviously we're going to be partying it up as well the next day, leading up to AEW at the Box Park. We're going to be having ourselves a bit of a party, big Wembley takeover, leading right up to All In, the last stop before All In. There's going to be special guests, giveaways, competitions. I believe almost 2,000 people have already applied to come along to this. It's free entry. It's just going to be a big party with Progress Wrestling and Hooked on Wrestling and Wrestle Tours, and going to be an amazing experience to be there in the Box Park right before All In. And you know, if you're worried about how you're going to get there, Johners, you know how you can get there, because Wrestle Tours, exactly, the Wrestle Bus is coming from Manchester, Liverpool, Leeds, Cardiff and Glasgow, straight direct to AEW All In. There are Saturday departures, which will be able to bring you down to the Progress and Defy shows in London as well. And it's traveling direct down on the Sunday as well. And straight back after the shows, get your queue jump and your pre-party at the box park. No rushing to catch your train home. And, you're going to be there with your mates. And there'll be a coach to dive on at the end, which will take you straight back to the city you came from, nice and safe, and saves all that well, one thing is hotel expenses. The other thing is, you're there with all your mates and it's going to be a great party. So we're going to have a great experience. Look forward to welcoming AEW over to the UK. Their talent were on absolutely top form for the love of wrestling. Such a nice bunch. And, we're all looking forward to that as well. And it's exciting times. All those things we've just mentioned. Cannot wait for it. And I know I'm looking forward to seeing all the fans there and them having a great time and being involved. And especially with Super Strong Style 16 as Progress and WXW team up that weekend. It's going to be amazing. Can't wait for it.
There we go. But just go to progresswrestling.com/tickets today, where you can get your ticket or tickets for any individual day, for the combo tickets for all three, for the weekender. You have to be a part of it. If you're just going for one day, you're going to miss out on so much action. Like I say, get the combo tickets and catch yourself some WXW after night one of Super Strong Style as well from the Dome in Tufnell Park, May the 27th. And then, of course, we're back in our spiritual home, the Electric Ballroom, on the 28th and the 29th. So that whole bank holiday weekend at the end of May, you have to be there. So much wrestling action, and of course, I was present at last year's Super Strong Style tournament. An incredible 3 days. Besides the tournament matches, so many fantastic featured matches as well as part of those 3 shows, those 3 days. And of course, on our next Hype Show, we'll be talking more about those. We'll be breaking down the first round draw, the bracketology, and so much more. But first of all, I want to thank our guest, Mark Shuttle from WXW. It's been a pleasure having you on this week's edition of the Hype Show and breaking down your show, We Love Wrestling, from Tufnell Park, from the Dome, of course, on the 27th of May. But if you've got one more reason why the viewers, the listeners of Progress Wrestling should get their ticket to Night 1 of Super Strong Style, but more importantly to see WXW in action, what would it be?
It's going to be incredible. In addition to everyone we've already spoken about, we're going to have our World Tag Team Champions, the Arrows of Hungary, the current Shotgun Champion, Lawrence Roman, and the Ace of Space, LSG, phenomenal wrestler from America, making his UK debut.
Wow.
There's so much good stuff, so much stuff I wish I could tell you, but I can't right now. Don't miss it.
We'll have to have you back. We'll have you back.
Why not?
For sure.
Why not?
But Mark, thank you very much. And Mike, as
Thank
always, fantastic to do these hype shows with you. But like I say, that's Hype Show 1 of Super Strong Style, kind of in the history books. But we'll be back for a second part to hype up the brackets, the bracketology, and all the featured matches very soon, my friend. But great to be talking to you once more, Mike.
Thanks so much. Yeah, great to meet you, Mark, as well, and great to chat to you. We're looking forward to welcoming you to the Dome on May 27th. John, as always, an honour to chat to you and an honour to bring this information to the fans out there who are listening. Make sure to get your tickets now, and we just can't wait to see you at Super Strong Style 16. It's going to be another amazing show from Progress Wrestling. Don't miss out. We're looking forward to it so much. It's going to be an absolutely amazing end to the May bank holiday. Going to be great stuff. So see you all there. Thanks, Johners.
Yeah,
Thanks,
see you at
Mark.
Super Strong.